Okay, hello everyone. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. I'm going to be using just my voice. There will be no captions on this one except for YouTube's built-in, maybe. I wanted to go over a very useful tool for endgame Elsword that a lot of players use, but yet, even all the players that are using it aren't really teaching other players how to use it. It's called Ashal, and you might have heard of it, a good number of times. The website is just Ashal.eu. It will be linked in the description. I do want to say that I have permission from Ashal to do this tutorial. I did explicitly ask for permission over Discord, and he will be viewing this and have me revise it if anything. So I will put a footnote if needed. So let me just introduce Ashal. So Ashal is a very useful tool in general for all Elsword things. Of course, Ashal himself made a very clean-looking UI, and he is an Aura player, as you can tell. And there's a lot of things to go over here, but right here, straight off the bat in the homepage, we can see that he has a news tab, so things he's updated, what he plans to add in, such as a mobile version, which is really exciting, his own Aura setup, because he does have a FAQ for his own Aura, and then credits to everything that he has pulled data from. Ashal is an extremely accurate tool for calculating many things, so he has his own frequently asked questions, which we'll go through first because it's kind of the most straightforward thing. So as we can see here, let me zoom in for you guys because I have a widescreen monitor. You can see he explains how certain skill damages work, crit damage, what normalization means, a nice little graph of it, defense and ignore defense, adaptation, all that kind of stuff he talks about here, and then stuff for Aura, and of course a little bit about himself, which is he's a fox. So this is really good information. If you have a question about stats and stuff, this is where you want to look. Obviously, I'd say just check out the site for yourself. We're not going to go over this because this is all very well detailed and explained by itself. He also has a very beautiful market setup. You need to register with an admin, which I recommend you do if you plan on using the market here. As you can see, it's fairly active. You have Discords linked here, so you can directly message the people, and if you're selling, people can directly message you. It's a very useful tool because, as you can see, there's still a lot of people using this market. So if you need to do that, and out here, I think this is a little outdated, but some people might still post, this is the place you want to go to. So we're going to get into calculators in a bit, but let me first talk about why we want to use Ashal. So Ashal's calculators are wonderful, wonderful tools. It's really nice because you can test out your own builds and different setups, etc., without having to worry about actually spending the money on changing your stats around, such as your ED syncs by changing sockets around, would this costume be better than this costume, stuff like that. I consider these all to be kind of silly questions because everything is dependent on your setup. Something that might be better for you may not be better for someone else with a similar but slightly altered setup. This can go for, comparing IBs, comparing what pieces, what master accessories, depending on your ERP, etc. So this calculator will really help you with building your own, equipment page and testing out what you need to test out. It also can help you understand stats better through the FAQ and just looking at how the stats page looks. So we'll go through it in a second, but also want to explain a little bit of why this guide even exists. So the main reason, and I kid you not, is because I'm tired of people asking silly questions that I mentioned before in this Discord called Aurora, Operation Aurora, which is an endgame Elsword NAPV Discord, linked in the description below. And for all my guides, I'll also be linking them from here on out. I do have permission from the admins to do so. We'll get more into that later, of what that server is. But I was really tired of people asking these kinds of questions that can't be answered by other people. Is X better than Y? We can't answer everything for you. It's not possible. You need to do some stuff yourself. As much as I want to just say, yes, X is better than Y, it is extremely situational, and getting you that awareness is what I want to do here. So I'm going to try to walk you through on how to build your stats and whatnot, while also teaching you some of the other stuff that you can do with it. So we're going to go over what we can do with it right now, which is your equipment. So right here, we'll be spending most of our time on this equipment page, and it will take a while to load, because you'll see why in a second. There's also, the new player guide, the market, everything that I already went through. But this is the main thing. This is the cream of the crop. This is what we're looking for. So once this loads up here, I will demonstrate. So it already preloaded my Revenant stuff. So that's mainly just because I have an account, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But for the sake of this tutorial, we're actually going to just start over. So I'm not really sure if there's a way to just start over, so give me a second. Alrighty, sorry about that. I had to manually clear everything. We're gonna zoom in one more time just to make things easier. So I do have a clean slate here, so I'm gonna be walking you guys through how to fill this out yourself. So I'm gonna use Revenant because that's the class I play. And we're gonna do a little test. You know, I use rigo armor currently. I have Crimson armor, but for the sake of this demonstration, I'll show you 2 pieces of Rigomore and 2 pieces of Tenebris, because people might be transitioning to Tenebris soon. So as we can see here, Ashal is very generous. We have all the raw stats here, and this is assuming you are level 99 with all your passives. This does not include Masterclass. We'll get into Masterclass in a second here. You see the artifact right here, but for now we're going to assume you're not Masterclass. So we have all our base stats here, all your raw stats of crit maxi, all that fun stuff, all of this. Normalization, so this is post, you know, calculations of normalization, which is this is what you pretty much see in your UI for your stats sheet. Your hidden stats are like including your passives that the game does not put in. So Revenant has 15% crit and maxi from one of his passives, so this isn't shown in his sockets, but it is there. Same with Awakening Time, and he has some crit damage as well. So you can see here, and you know, depends on your class. So if I was FB, we'd have 20% crit from his passive, 10% Awakening Time. He does have crit damage, but that's from Overpower. So, you know, it'll do that. It'll adjust for every class, every character, and then you can look at your final effects here to see your actual changes here. Right here, your crit damage multiplier is pretty important, but here you have all the decreases MP cost, your multipliers, and your damage. But generally, you want to be looking at your hidden stats because this includes your normalized stats, and we'll get into that in a little bit. So let's start filling this out. This is your errata rank, and this is your PvP rank. These will only affect things that are affected by the ranks. For most people, this will not be anything important, but for some people, you might find this useful, especially if you're trying to figure out a PvP setup. So let's start with my Revenant, and I highly, highly recommend that you have Elsword open and you do this side by side. I do not, because I know my Revenant stuff by mind. I've played this game long enough. So we're going to start with what we have is the costume suit, and where is the... And it might take you a little bit to look through and find what you're looking for. So right now I'm looking for the double duelist suit. There it is. So I have 1% all skill damage, and it has all the sockets included. So we're going to use the boss damage because all of my costume has boss damage and boss introduction. So we have a costume suit, and that's fine. What I recommend you do when you have a blank slate like this is right here in this little green bar. It's really nicely highlighted. Presets. You can get a weapon. So it has Void, FOJ, and VOS. And you know, I'm assuming you have one of these 3. It's very unlikely that you don't. Maybe if you have a secret dungeon weapon. I don't. He does have options for secret dungeon weapons, but I assume that mostly everyone who's using this tool at this point would probably need to have a preset weapon. So I have a very strong Vestige Soul physical, so it'll give you a quick description. Plus 10, so this is a plus 11 with uniques. You know, crit damage means it'll give you the yellow crit damages. Mid gives you plus 10 with elites, and lows gives you plus 9 with commons. So I recommend most people just figure out what you have most of, and then start from there. Of course, make sure you get the physical magical correct Revenant's physical class. I do have a perfect plus 11 VOS, so in a way I'm showing you my gear too. It's stage 5. Here, you'd want to look at your random effects from in-game. So I have a plus 4 and a plus 2.25, and I also have an HP increase as my second line with the second tier. These small things might not matter to you, but I highly recommend you put them in because it'll just make things easier in the future. You notice at the top of the screen, at all times, there's an attack power and damage modifier and a total power. This kind of helps you gauge your setups as you go along, but while we're filling it out, we can kind of ignore it. So, as you can see, the Mystic effects, we have all physical attack levels, physical attack percents, physical attack percents, physical attack percents again. Here I have 1 attack level instead of all 3 attack percents. And you just need to change this as you see fit. Here, the imprint effects, this might take a little bit, but it does affect your CP, which Ashal does kind of keep track of. So I think I will attempt to try to remember what my things were here. So I believe I have MP below 60. I have all skill damage 5%. When using a special actives, I have 30%. And I have physical attack 4%. And then I have when MP below 40%. Where is it? Or MP below 50%, sorry. I have another 30%. Maybe it's 3 times E, but it doesn't matter too much. I have boss damage 5%. So these imprints, as you can see, they have increased my power a little bit. So that will, in fact, increase my experimental CP, which you can see right here. This is, of course, experimental. Ashal also puts the note here: common power is not an accurate measure of power, which is 100% true. Don't judge people by having a lot of common power, judge them by how they do in actual dungeons. So that's our weapon. Pretty straightforward. You put in your enhancement level. If you have more than 11, or if you have all perfect sockets, we have a plus 10. You can always notch it down. Put it up to 13 if you want to see how much you do with 13 over that. But this is just to see what it's like. So sockets, I have critical, maximize, something like that. I have some sort of split between critical and maxis, and they're all perfect sages, so we'll just leave it at that. So weapon costume, you could do this, or again go to the presets, and they have a costume. Actually, let's come back to costume in a bit. Let's do armor next. So again, you can do you can manually put on your pieces here, but for the sake of showing off this preset, we're going to use Crimson Rigor High. So this is plus 11 with the full Crimson set. So that's what we'll do. I believe Ashal will probably add in a Tenebris set because it's also reforgeable just like Crimson and Rigor in general. So we'll do this. And he doesn't put any reforges in for you because obviously you can have a plus 11 without having a high reforge. So I remember off the top of my head, my top piece is reforge stage 19. I have only 1 all skill damage, and it's probably something like, I'll just put some random filler stats. I only have all skill damage on 1. For this one, I have critical 6, critical 5, and critical 4.5 here. Don't judge, I just don't have enough sage stones. So here we'll do the same thing. I have only reforged 15 on my bottom piece. It's a magical piece, so I was not going too much. Again, I only have one sort of only have 1 ID of all skill damage. I do have some action speed though. And for all the rest of mine, there is no fast way to do this, but I just have boss damage and damage reduction. I don't care too much with damage reduction, so I ignored switching with 2.5 to 1.5, but it might be beneficial for you to just actually stay true to what you have. So I will go ahead and fill that out. Here I have reforged 17, I'm working against 18. This one actually doesn't have any all skill damage. I think it has an MP gain, yada yada yada, HP increase. And again with the boss damages. It's very simple, very intuitive to just kind of run through this. And once you understand where the stat is, you'll probably catch it every time. So we'll do that again. And then again, my shoes are 15 because I am a physical class, so I just don't care enough about it. So we'll do awakening time, add damage. I believe this one had maximized 1.5. So again, boss damage, boss damage, boss damage, and boss damage. So now you have your full, weapon and armor set, and I will show you guys with my bottom piece and shoes. We'll put on Tenebris pieces instead. Ashal just added these in. So let's go with the assumption that I'm plus 11. We'll go with Reforge 15 because that'd be nice. Actually, we'll go down to 12. You can see it has the socket effects, so we'll assume that let's assume I go with the same sockets that I have right now, even though this is being shareable and blah blah blah, shared across all ravens, which is why I try to socket my crit and maxi on costumes when possible, but we'll do that later. So shadow effects, this is important. We're going to assume we're using the best effects, so we'll do all skill damage for the bottom piece. It doesn't really matter, so we're just going to do red damage 10%. And let's go with the Titan Slayer, we'll go 2%. These are obviously, you'll find these in the actual in-game. So same thing with this one. Let's go with stage 12. Let's go with plus 11. Let's keep the all skill damages because who cares at this point. Boss damage reduction. If you actually have this, I recommend you put in your actual stats, especially if you're figuring out if it's worth transitioning from your Rigor over to your Tenebris. You can see if your Tenebrous Priest is just as strong with your total power up here. And we'll get to a little bit on that later. So again, we'll do all skill damage because that's the best one. I personally like having MP cost decrease on my shoes. Some people might like crit or maxi, depending on your class. And again, we'll do Titan Slayer's passive. So now we have our armor set. I used a preset at first, but now I use the Tenebrous and I manually put it in. So that's how you guys put in your stuff. We'll go back to presets. We'll go to costumes. I believe Ashal only has up to 7 worlds. So anything beyond 7 worlds you won't have a preset with. So we'll go ahead and fill these in ourselves. I use the new Aurora Mystica or Mustica. Not sure how it's pronounced. But let's go with Mystica because I think it sounds a lot better. I have critical 9% because I don't have a Sage again. And I have another set of boss damages. And then here I again have Aurora Mystica. And these are in order of the releases. So you see that we have Eligos followed by Wander Markin, Sanctus, Rosa, Mystica, and then next will be Agent Nos, and then I believe it's Apostolos next, unless I'm skipping one. I might be skipping one. So again, and on these I try to keep things simple, so we'll just do boss damage once again. And let me just finish putting all these in really quick. Okay, and so now we have our costume in, Aurora Mystica, whatever. So now we have our costumes and our equipment in, like the main stuff. Weapon accessory, I use the good old Exodia. You can also do, again, preset tier, so we can use, I guess there's no actual regular Varnamir set, so I'm going to manually enter it, but if you have any of these, go ahead and use them. I recommend you do, save some time, because there's no sockets on your accessories. So Demonic Eye for me. I use Aurora Mystica's. Where is it? This one might be a little out of place because you'll see there's some accessories that go below this, such as Dimension Blasters, the IM set, MEL wings, Engine Cooling System, and Code of Honor. So you can check Engine Cooling System and Code of Honor's damage as well. Aurora Mystica for me. My face top I use Soul Crown, and then it'll obviously apply the buff for you too. And then my bottom I use Undying Flame. That finishes our Rosso 3-3, and you can see it keeps track of all your side effects here, which is really wonderful to have. Next, I now have the Aurora Mystica necklace, so that's going to be near the top. It's actually the only one of the few, as of now, the only IB that actually uses the necklace slot, which is really cool. So I use that. I use Gaia earrings, so Earth Aura earrings, and then we have Face Aura Middle, and where's it? Wind Aura hair ornament. And then here I have Denif's Water Aura arm ornament. My face bottom, I use Baryon's fur. It applies the power release buff, but obviously there's Agate Fragment right there as well, if you need to use that. My first string is a Brave Warrior skill ring, and here I have double maxi sockets, so I'm happy with that. And then the second one I use Ring of Fury, not complete energy conversion device. So you'll see that Ring 1 and Ring 2 are kind of restricted, even though you can have both in either. So if I was to switch this one to complete energy conversion device, this one still doesn't have the regular, the skill tier rings. So make sure you just put your skill tier rings in the first one, and the energy conversion device in the second, if you use them. So this is how my whole equipment setup looks like. Looks good so far. We're pretty much done with all the equipment stuff. So let's talk about titles. Very self-explanatory. We go through here, and I'll just put in mine. I use black and white because I'm done with that nonsense. Class bonuses just tells you the stuff you have. This is your hidden passive stats. So you can see right here my crit. I get crit damage, critical maxi, and awakening time. And then here's where you check your master class. So when you hit master class, you get the stage 1 at default. I'm obviously stage 4. I have master skill damage, master skill cooldown, and then my third line is actually a perfect boss damage roll, which I believe is one of the best ones you can get. Yeah, because that's just flat physical attack. And here you can kind of see like what you can get too. So if you want to, test around with what you can have, I have boss damage 15, and I think that is the strongest roll you can get. Artifact accessories. So he has them regular, and then he has the colors. If you have it from the Plagueis socketing, I have a full yellow set. Don't remember the exact numbers off the top of my head. I think it's something like this. This sounds about right. I have cooldown decrease, 3.5%. I've used a full yellow set, so you can do whatever you want to. I have red damage, I believe 11, and then red damage 10, and then I have red damage here, like 6% or something. Good red damage piece. Here I have yellow rings, I have some master skill damage, it doesn't really matter too much. Some cooldown decrease, and then bravery damage 3.5. And then yellow rings, these will obviously be different for everyone. I have 8% on one, and I have 1.8. And then I have, I believe, 7% on the other, might be 8% as well, but this one's also 1.6. So that's my whole ring setup. So this is how you set up your whole artifact thing. For skills, these won't matter a crazy amount, but I do use unique Lipias, I have unique eroding, and then I will put in, and I recommend you to put in the unique headhunter. Actives, again, won't matter, this is just for your own benefit. I have unique hyper excel, I have elite drain, I have up generation at rare level because I don't feel like using it too much. Where's haunting spirit? It's rare, don't feel like upgrading it. And then soul harvest, it's rare. So yeah, this is how you set up your 4 skills. Guild passes are nice. You just have to look in your guild tab for this, and it'll tell you what each one is. If you just click on it right here, you can see what each effect gives you. And I believe, I'm not quite sure which one we have, but we're just gonna assume I have this, and an MP recovery, and where is this? This one for Frugal Spirit, and then we have Powerful Physique, and Hunter's Instinct, and then I believe we have some other random effect. I don't remember which one it is, but it's one of these. We'll just go with this. This sounds about right. Because I'm in a level 25 guild that always has the Gnosis Blessing running. So this will also contribute to your power slightly. I mean, you can see if I take it away, you can see the power change. So you can make sure that your power is getting adjusted accordingly. Pet, I use a Unio because I am very, very old school. It's the first pet I've ever had, and I've kept it the whole time. Customization, if you have socket effects on your skill cut-ins, this is where you want to put them in. I have like a bunch of strength damage, I'm pretty sure. Strength, EXP, something like that. And an ERP, so this is very nice. I have 330 as of this video. So you can hold shift and click on the plus just like how you would in game to invest 10. So we're going to put in all of mine into what I have, which is not quite that much yet. I'm close though. So I always cap out my boss monster, my adaptation, all skill damage, and then the rest I have in skill cooldown decrease. So I have 65 here. So that makes up for that. You'll see why I have 15 here in a second, but you put your ERP in here and there you go. So that covers putting all your information in, and now you can take a look here. My hidden stats is definitely wrong. I don't have that much critical, maybe, and you can see I need to adjust here and there. I don't know where I have all this crit coming from, but you know what, we'll load in my other stats in a bit here. So buffs, here they have the automatic buffs. You have your rigor buffs here, you have your imprints, your soul crown, your accessories, black and white's buff, artifact set effect. So you can have your general buffs here. So if you want to check your damage, let's say when you have a full buff party, so let's say I'm farming, I want an Aerialina buff with me, and you can just delete them like this, and then you can add in power aura, and then they have CP, CP amounts where each one is different. Acceleration aura, supplement aura, which is, as if you have to know the names of these, but that's fine, and you can just see he has pretty much all of these, even good old revenants, which I'll just add in because I am a revenant, so I pretty much always have these. I always have this stage 3. That scream is a defensive one, but we're just going to put it in case. So class buffs, this one is nice, so you can put in all your class buffs here. Something that it might be a bug as of this video, but is not actually a bug in general, is if you actually, this is because it's just Revenant, so I'm going to get rid of all these. I swapped to FB really quick to show you. Your class should have Awakening as its own buff with Transcendence and Translot, which is 50%. So you can check if it's in a Translot skill or if it's just Transcendence. So you get 30% when you're awakened, you know, and then he has the rest of the pass. So awakening isn't put in for Revenant yet. So if I was FB, you know, he gets physical attack from focus. Victor's dignity also gets 15%. Let's say we have Bloody Excel and Giga Drive running, and on top of that we also have Overpower because that procs when both of those are running. Then Extreme Response, which gives crit damage to 20%. And then we have Blade Acceleration, which gives you movement speed, and Counter Wave going off, which is the MP cost increase. So it'll have all your class specials here. As you can see, FB has a lot more, but the main thing is that Awakening was not available on Revenant, but it absolutely will be available for your class. So just keep an eye out, and you should be able to see it just fine. I'm going to leave this as is. This is just for testing damage. And if you have, let's say, Complete Energy Conversion Device, you can also check with debuffs on. So any sort of debuff that might, so any sort of like enemy debuffs that can exist right now. Wind Orbs is a pretty important one to keep on. This is just a Nick skill that I added in. Yeah, let's see. So we have Path of Revenge from Revenant, so he has those in. Awakening Will Mutant Reaper is important because it's a big debuff. Excuse me. Soul Crash, also big debuff, and then Sprout I saw already. Yeah, so he has pretty much everything listed here. So you can just check with all. You can play around with this. I recommend this is like the last place you look at. Okay, this is a big thing. The Elsword party. So you want to put in all your collection characters here, and you can just select all. You know, you can remove all if you want to. If you have more than not, I'd recommend you select all and just remove ones that you don't have. Otherwise, be like me and just fill them all in one by one. Excuse me while I drink some water. So for me, I have a Remaster, and this means that you have level 99, this means third job, and this means that they're master class. So I have a third job Remaster, I have master class IM, I have a third job Oz, I have a just level 99, I don't even know what her name is before Lord Azith, we're just gonna say Lord Azith. I have a third job Twilight, I have a Masterclass Furious Blade, a Masterclass Rage Heart, Masterclass blah blah blah, all the Ravens, obviously, because I'm a Raven player, Masterclass Code Ultimate, Essentiate. So just go down the list, you know, get everything you want, everything you have, and put it in here as well. So I'm just going to run through these really quick and just get all these put in. This, and this. Richter, Hersher, Attorney Winner, Misha. I have my Liberator at only level 99, but I do have a Masterclass Nyx. Okay, so now I have this all filled out, and now you can choose your synergy here. So the synergy I currently run with is something like this. I have Rage Hearts, I have Nova Imperator, then I have Code Ultimate, and Prime Operator, and Tempest Burster, and Eternity Winner, I believe, is my last one. Right, Mechanical Engineering, Sharp, Masada Research, Fist Fight Titans. Yeah, okay, so you can see this list will only have the classes you have listed here on this right side or left side. You can also select all and optimize with your current or all of them. The only problem I have is that optimization will always prioritize adaptation. So I have cap adaptation because I use Elixir and camp buff. So when you go back here and you use equipment buffs or general buffs, they should have Elixir. Here we go. They have Elixir and they have Bloodshine Potion, but you can just have Adaptation Potion. You can also have general buff, and there should be resting buff, raid parties resolved. There we go. Okay, so now Ashal knows that I have. Let's see, where's my adaptation here? Here it is, 43%. Something seems off. I should. That's strange. It should be 45%. Okay, let's take a look at my equipment again. Adaptation here. I will be right back. I'm going to figure this out. Ah, yes. Okay, wait. Actually, never mind. It's because I'm using the two-piece sabers. So for the sake of this, we're going to put it to 21 because it gives 2% adaptation. So now I have maximum adaptation, right, with all these buffs. I recommend you keep it on. That way Ashal doesn't prioritize adaptation for you. So if I do current, I pretty much have the optimized synergy that I have. If I do all, it might adjust it. So you can see it'll tell you exactly what it changed, which is nothing. It didn't change anything, so I have the best synergy I could possibly have. And I guess technically I could add in a researcher there, but I actually, instead of using Celestian Daybreaker, I should have Daybreaker, I do like using Code Ultimate for Nasad Research instead. And instead of using Celestia, I believe I use... Where are you, Centurion? Centurion, and I still gotta keep my researcher count here. So, this is what I actually use. So I actually get the researcher, which isn't any CP boost, but it's a case I forgot to swap titles, I still have the 10% chance. Yada yada yada. But that's how you use the search party buff here. And this is how you can check what synergy is best for you. Okay, here's the important part for everyone who asks the questions for, is this better than that? Is X better than Y? You know. Here you can assume, you can put in all the things that you would look at when you're actually going to attack and do damage testing. So instead of going to skill training, you can look here. So we're going to say we're doing a bravery type. And this directly affects your power. This whole time it's been calculating with a 50% debuff with strength damage. Bravery damage you see it's significantly higher. We'll go with an 80% debuff. Let's assume we're in birth raid. So you see how much it's spiked up already. Birth has, I believe, 72% defense, somewhere around there. It could be wrong, but this sounds about right. And we'll say I have player HP at 100%. And the Tenebris limit I only had 2 pieces, so we have 40%. But if you had 80%, you'd see you'd be doing a lot more. So we'll leave it at 40%. It breaks down how all the damage works, and of course you can uncheck this if you wanted to, but I like to keep it up. So you can see your actual damage, and it has optimizations for you. You can already have an optimization of everything. Let's see, you want crit maxi and boss damage, optimizes all current sockets, optimize circuits for currently available sockets other than sages. So if you don't have sages like me, you want to use budget, and this is just all possible. So you can click on this button to get your endgame optimization sockets. You can see it's running. It's going to take a little bit to calculate. This is such a great tool. I seriously recommend you guys check this out. So here we go. Now it gives you a breakdown of what sockets changed. And of course, defense ignore is up there because having too much boss damage isn't that important. So you see I only lost 2%. I lost 5% boss damage and boss damage reduction. I also adjusted my critical and my maxi because again I had too much crit and not enough maxi. And then I also added in 7.5% defense ignore. Defense ignore stones are very, very hard to find because you have to craft them, and we'll see how that goes. But this is just a good tool for you to have. So now you can see if I go up here, back to my hidden stats, I'm at exactly 100%. So it has already, and you can just go back and you can look through. Well, what did it change here? We said boss damage here, boss damage, boss damage, boss damage. But now this one has 3 maxi sockets. My weapon now has 3 crit, 3 maxis. Okay. This has both boss damage, no more crit here. And then defense ignore, defense ignore, defense ignore, defense ignore, and then boss damage reduction. And of course you can play around with these a little bit, instead of having, because physical defense ignore sockets are very expensive, you could just put both of these defense ignores. It only costs you 2 stones here because you're guaranteed 3%. So let's just go here. Let's do physical defense ignore. So now we have that 6% that we have from our costume, and it cost us, now we have the boss damage reduction. So you're going to save some money by doing it like this. But of course you can play around. You're not actually changing your stats because you still have the same stats in total here. So yeah, there you go. Now you've optimized your sockets, and that's cool. Now you can check your skill damage comparisons here. So we can say, new, there's a different setup, and this is just saving all of this. So you can see the attack HP, oops, save, there we go. So now you can see I have Revenant here. Let's save this one. Well, let's see, so this is for birth, right? Let's say we're at Rosa. Rosa's 50%. His defense is only 72, and I think 12.73, I believe, something like that. So how much damage do I do in Rosa? Significantly less, because the Demon Realm debuff isn't nearly as strong. So all the adaptation I have is a little different. But you can see that there's now a difference between these two. Okay? It's really nice to just be able to witness all this. And now you can calculate the difference, and it can calculate that for you as well, which we'll say set it as base. So whichever one you set as base will not check. So now you have a 71% damage increase in birth with this setup compared to Rosso. And it's really nice, because now you can just look at your skill setups, and let's say I want to check with how my FB would be. Like, how much more damage does an FB do than a Revenant in Rosso raid with similar stats? Now you can load up your FB, you can load that same thing, and there you go, now you have it. Okay, this was a lot. So, obviously you don't want to lose all your progress. You go to your account here, and you can, again, it shows your setups, and you can save what you have right here. So I have this sample, I'm going to overwrite it. You will need to make an account, but making an account is free, it's fast, it's very easy. Highly recommend you do it. For me, I have, my Revenant, my Centurion, Comic Crusader. I had my Fatal Phantom in here, I have a Nova Imperator, I had my Rage Hearts. But it's just, I'm focusing on things I focus on. You can see how data is 269. I have my date, you can rename it to whatever you want. So, you can have multiple setups ready here, and there might be some sort of limit and like some really high number, but all in all, you can save all your setups here, and it's such a great tool. So now I hope instead of asking questions like, is X better than Y, you can test it out, you can do it, you figure out. Of course, this promotes min-maxing, but hey, if you're good about it, then there you go. Here's your resource for figuring out how to do the best you can in all the dungeons that you do. So, something else that he does have here is you can see your enhancement differences. So let's say I'm a Raven. I'm Revenant. I have enhanced level 11. We're just going to leave that as base. What do I enhance? 12? What do I gain? There you go. That's what you gain. Base stats. Okay, very nice. ERP. This is actually a very nice tool. So let's say my endgame goal to do my 15.6 DPS run is 350 ERP. You put in your average EXP in millions, which I have like around 100. My average runtime, which is, let's go with 2 minutes, will be generous. And this will tell you how many dungeons you have to run of this. And this is, I'm using Trosh, but you can always use like Plagueis, or if you use some other dungeon, if you're low level, to run and farm XP. There you go. You can use this to see how many days and hours and whatever. So to get me 20 levels, it's going to take me almost 3 straight days of grinding. Obviously, I'm not going to do that. I grind 1 hour a day, and that's good enough for me. And for those of you people who just need your ice burner fix, you can just sit here. I believe the animation doesn't work because I use Opera GX, so I'm going to disable animations. But you can just kind of, get yourself rid of that, RNG or like that need to spend. And for some people, they use this as like, oh, should I burn today? Let's burn a 500 fake IVs. What do I get? Well, I got 1 weapon out of 500 IVs. I got 2 Sagestone cubes. Who cares, man? Like, I didn't do that good. And I just like to have fun. I put in like some really absurd number. I hit burn, and I see, oh yeah, only 11 sacrifice out of $500,000 of IVs. Great. So you can really see how this all works out. But yeah, so that's your Iceburn RNG, and that's pretty much what I have for Ashal's tutorial. I know it's been a long one. I'm going to divide this up in chapters. So just go ahead and go back to what you want to see. And I just kind of wrap things up by saying, let's go back to what I had before. Let's go to my equipment stats here. And again, it'll load up. And what you can do is once it's loaded up, and this is what I do, is it has this really long link. I like to just bookmark whatever I have if I don't feel like opening up my account and then loading in my stuff like this. So I'm going to load in what my current setup is. I haven't added in my ERP, but this is with my actual proper sockets. And you can see I'm a little up in my crit. That's because I assumed I had 12% here. I actually have 9%. So you can see I'm actually a little too low on that. And here, I have 4.5. And I'm using Aurora Mystica, all that fun stuff. So you can see what my actual stuff is here. And let me actually fix my residence. Let's go ahead and do this. This is assuming that I had perfect, but I don't have the money to spend on ERP coins. So let's just up this. You can always just go here, save as current, boom. So I hope this guide has helped you guys. I'm going to leave a link to Operation Aurora down below because I realize some of you guys might be watching these videos and you're not in this raid Discord or this endgame Discord, and there are some people there that I don't like, but they're playing more than I do, so I highly recommend that you join this Discord. And obviously I'm in there too, so you can always get direct contact with me if you have any questions about these guides, if you want to see certain types of videos. I already have some people who know me on Discord and I already ask about some videos. I know you're probably watching this too. I really appreciate all the feedback. Thanks for all the support, guys. And, you know, if you don't want to do any of that, go ahead and just leave a comment. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Otherwise, thank you for tuning in, and I hope this helped. Catch you next time.